himself. So my name is Guy Ben-Zvi. I'm the CEO and founder of Omega-3 Galilee and of the OTaste Venture. OTaste Venture belongs to Omega-3 Galilee. It's a project that has been running for almost 4 years, 3.5 years, to change the world to the better, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And with me, we have Alisa, our head of R&D. Alisa, please present yourself in a few
Hello,
words.
everybody. My name is Alisa. I'm the head of R&D here in OTaste, and I'm here also to answer any technical questions that will be after the webinar or during the webinar.
Yes, I see we have many participants who are flavorists and the R&D people and formulation people. So if you'll have questions, Alisa will answer. Omer
Hello, everyone. I'm Omer Shoham, VP Marketing and Sales at OTaste.
and Meiki.
Hi everyone, pleasure to be with you. I'm the CEO of OTaste North America and the CBDO for the company, and it's great to share our vision with you.
And Meiki has been in the industry for many years. He used to run Sabra Hummus from its infancy until it became PepsiCo, right? It's PepsiCo today. Okay, so thank you everybody that arrived. We have already many people here, and I suggest that we simply start. Okay, Omer, just confirm that my screen is seen okay?
All good.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk about OTaste, the future of taste. This is just a disclaimer to say that this presentation is not an offer to sell or a solicitation to buy shares in the company. So this is just a technical presentation to get you acquainted with the technology and the possibilities in the food world. This is a quote from Robert Kennedy Jr., the new head of Human Services or the Ministry of Health of America. And he says, we are literally poisoning our children systematically for profit. Consuming too many added sugars, especially from high fructose corn syrup, contributes to obesity and heart disease. And we say that for decades, the food industry has forced consumers to choose between taste and health. We're here to change that. That's me and my team. Is it too much to ask for food to be tasty, clean label, and affordable at the same time? Well, it's a tough question. Let's look at sugar. Normally, sugar comes in cubes or powder or crystals, and imagine it can come as a liquid. And we call this product O-Sweet, and O-Sweet is the solution for a global problem. The sugar problem is that our globe is made out of it. We consume 180 million metric tons of sugar every year. It means that every one of the participants here, on average, consumes a bag of 20 kilograms of sugar. But since I don't consume 20 kilograms of sugar a year, somebody consumes 40 kilograms or 60, and then they become obese and then they become diabetic. Now, the value of sugar is very low relatively. It's only $100 billion. But the real value of sugar, the real value driver is the cost of diabetes care. And that reaches already $1 trillion in 2025. So this year, the cost of diabetes care is 10 times more than the cost of the sugar itself. Now, you and I, most participants here, and definitely my friends on the panel, we have recognized that this is a problem. And therefore, we stopped consuming sugar. And approximately 30% of the industrialized world, so something like 2 billion people, have stopped consuming large quantities of sugar. And these are people with diabetes, with obesity, people on any type of keto, low carb, Atkins, any type of low carb diet. And today, even worried parents, young parents that don't want their kids to be as diabetic as their grandparents, stop giving their kids high sugar-loaded products. And that's why these 30% are colored in deep blue, because this is a blue ocean. A blue ocean means there is no solution in the market. But let me tell you something which would sound like an oxymoron. Sugar is not the enemy. Sugar is not the enemy because the real enemy is too much sugar. You actually do need glucose, which comes from sugar. in your blood. You need to be at about 100. If you go down to 60, you will faint. If you go down to 40, you will die. You will be hypoglycemic. So if sugar is so important, what is the problem with sugar? We just consume too much. And on the other hand, the industry has tried to solve this problem for decades, and they found out that sweeteners are not the solution, because all these sweeteners and all the other dozens of sweeteners on the market, be them natural or artificial or sugar alcohols, all of them have two big drawbacks. And forget about the price for a minute. The two drawbacks are that they're either unhealthy or untasty, and typically they are both. So do you have a solution of something that can be sweet, tasty, and healthy at the same time? And the answer is yes. This is the answer. So if in your noble spread you have 56% of sugar, like this is the actual amount of sugar in this spread, in this product, which we already manufacture and sell in the market, in Israel it's called O-Sweet, in America it's called Barley, which you see here, you have only this tiny amount of sugar, like 80% less. Yes, it does exist. So how do we go from this amount of sugar to this amount of sugar, like 80% less? The answer is O-Sweet. And this is how it is made. How do we do this? We actually take oil and sugar. This is oil and sugar, 50% oil, 50% sugar, and we mix them. Now, if we just mix oil and sugar, they don't mix, and you see the grains of sugar. And if you dip your finger in this oil, you would feel that it's not sweet at all. The sugar just separates immediately. But we actually do this in our process. We mix them. And like you see here on the left side, we start milling them in a process called wet milling. And we reduce the particle size with several steps until we reach the size of the particles from 500 microns like this to this tiny size, like 5 microns. And the resulting product looks like this. It's called O-Sweet. This is just a sample in a bottle so it will be clear to see. You see this paste coming out? This is the same as this. It's the same, 50% sugar, 50% oil. Maybe I have here 1/3 of a gram, something like this. If I put it in my mouth, wow, my mouth is bursting with sweetness. So, and this is the result of two factors, the small particle size and the fact that it is immersed or suspended in oil, and oil is a very good conveyor of flavor, as we all know. So this gives us, first of all, a solution which is affordable. So yes, if I go back one slide, yes, I have to replace 80% of the sugar with something. So this something can be various other fillers like proteins or fibers or both of them, which will make maybe the formulation a little bit more expensive by 10 or 15%. But still, if we are talking about an affordable premium product, this is exactly the sweet spot point. It has no chemicals, no substitute, no aftertaste. It's a micro suspension in oil. There is no water here. Don't look for emulsions. It's very dry and therefore it's very stable. This bottle can hold the product for 2 years and nothing will happen. And it's ideal for anything which is fatty and sweet. And all these applications, which contain 30 to 80% less sugar than the reference product on the market, all these products have been manufactured. Some of them are already manufactured and sold commercially, like the spreads, these spreads and the toppings, for ice cream or for bakery. And some of them have been made with customers or for customers in a laboratory or in customer factories. And now many customers in the world are doing all their tests and proof of concept to go with them to the market. But the technology works. I have to say one word, we need fat in the system. So if we're talking about chocolate chip cookies, they need to have a minimum amount of fat to hold the sugar that we are bringing into the system. And if you wanted to ask, this doesn't work with beverages. So you can't do it. You can't sweeten Coca-Cola and get rid of aspartame, or you can't use it with orange juice. The same technology exactly works with salt. Think about salt, which is a liquid, and really, I kid you not, this is O-Salt. It looks the same. You see how it flows easily? So this means you can very easily apply it. Instead of having a powder, you can just spray it or tumble it. It's exactly the same process. The same machine that we have developed is used. You actually reduce the production costs because you are using less salt and less oil. If typically on a snack you'd have 5% oil and 5% salt or 3% salt, here you reduce the amount of oil to half and the amount of salt maybe 80%. No chemicals, no substitute, no aftertaste. You don't have a taste of potassium chloride. If you know this substitute salt or salter that has a bitter aftertaste, this doesn't have it. As I said, it's sprayable and tumble coated very easily, and you can even direct fry in O-Salt. So if you have a container with oil, a fryer, and you add a few drops or a few percent of O-Salt, you can directly fry the product and get it salty out of the fryer. So these are applications we have done. Potato chips, it works very well. Potato chips absorb about 10% of oil when you fry them or deep fry them. And if you put the right amount of O-Salt inside, the salt goes all the way into the pores in the potato chips and the taste is just fantastic. You can surface coat peanuts, all kind of nuts, cashews, extruded products, onion rings, nuggets, fried chicken. You can salt them directly, potato chips. All of these work very well. And by the way, this O-Salt is so salty, like it's 50 times saltier. This tiny amount of salt that I have on my finger, if I put it in my mouth, it's like a salt shock. Immediately my mouth is full with salt, like I drank a zip from the Dead Sea. If any one of you has ever been to the Dead Sea, you know how salty it is, just without the aftertaste. O-Spice, the same technology, works with powders, with spices. So you know, some of you are in this industry of seasonings and the spice blends, and you have many powders and they are difficult to handle. And think that now you have a spice blend, which is an oil. Exactly the same process again, we just mix all the solid ingredients with oil and start milling them. In this case, you have a very significant cost reduction because the spices are very expensive. So not only can we reduce salt and sugar by 50% or maybe even more and make it more healthy, we can reduce the amount of spices. We get rid of the fillers, so you don't have powders and you don't have things like starch or maltodextrin or calcium carbonate or all these fillers. You get rid of them and you have a cleaner label. These are some applications we've already done, so you can directly fry with the seasoning. You add the seasoning oil into your frying oil and fry directly in it, or you can coat in a tumbler coater with spray or without a spray. And all these are examples of products that we made, and we can really make almost any flavor that you can apply with a powder. We apply it with an oil. And Meiki, maybe I'll hand it over to you now to talk a little bit about our business structure and where we're going.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. So early stage can mean different things to different people. In our case, we are ready to go. We are ready to go to market. We are past the R&D stage. We industrialize our technology, our patent. We presented to a customer our ingredient that Guy shared with you, and together with leading global players, we developed applications that are so amazing that they want to go to market with them. But before that, they want to make sure that they have the right agreement with us because they see that this is a game changer and our capabilities will allow them to gain market share and to win in the marketplace. So we are now standing with Damon, one of the largest broker for private label in the world, with Rubix, with a strong player, very strong player in the quick service restaurants, working with the leading global chains, with Wegmans, with a well-known supermarket chain in the United States, and others, including in the ready-to-eat meals in other categories. We are with all these guys. We are now sitting at a table, exchanging papers and aligning on our JV or MOU. Once that will be signed, which will be in the coming few weeks, they will go to market with the applications that they develop together with us, and they know that they have customers waiting for them. So where we started with our proof of concept. We developed a B2C product. We developed two spreads, a chocolate hazelnut spread that the guy showed you earlier.
I'm showing it again. Do you see my camera?
He's showing it now in the camera again. And sesame, Mediterranean sesame spread product. And we launched them a couple of months ago, just a few months ago on Amazon, just to get to see the consumer response to our taste and to the low sugar and to our clean label that we are making available for the consumer. The response is overwhelming positively. The sales are growing very fast, way ahead of what we expected or predicted. And we are now planning to launch additional two syrups in the market. And
do you see my camera, Meiki?
Yeah, we see.
Okay, so these toppings, the peanut butter.
We have the two toppings that we're going to launch: the chocolate topping and the peanut topping. And we've been approached by a leading go-to-market retail firm that wants to take our products and to launch them in retail and in clubs in the United States. So this is our proof of concept that is becoming beyond proof of concept, but our main strategy is really B2B, and there we have two ways to bring it to life. One is we will have our own plants in the United States. The first one will be up and running by Q4 of this year, where we'll produce our game-changing ingredient, and we'll ship it to our B2B partners in pails or drums. The large partner, the one that will need more capacity than that, we will install our lines at their facility, so it will be very efficient. There will not be any logistic involved in it. Directly from our line in their facility, our O sweet or O salt or O spice will go straight to their lines, and that will be a licensing agreement. We are very proud to share that we have a strategic investor, Steve Debro, who is the owner of Chelten House. Chelten House is a large, significant private label manufacturer in the United States, working with the leading 15 USA retailers. Some of them you see their names here. And he invested in us already in 2 rounds because he is getting the request on a daily basis from his customers: reduce the sugar, reduce the sodium levels in the product that you are supplying to us. So he's highly involved. He's part of our board, and of course he's leveraging his relationship in the market to enable further discussions that we are developing with potential customers.
Okay, Meiki, so thank you. I'll now describe a little bit how can you actually use, if you're a food manufacturer, how can you actually use O-Sweet and O-Salt and O-Spice. So first, all our ingredients are solid flavorants suspended in liquid oil, fats, or butters. Any oil, it can be olive oil, it can be palm oil, MCT oil, soy oil, corn oil, any oil. It can be any fat, like concentrated milk fat, it can be coconut butter, it can be palm stearine, or theoretically even tallow. And so anything that you can melt as a fat and work with it as an oil can work. O-Sweet can be applied directly where oils or fats and sugar are used together. So think about chocolate refining and conching. Normally you would add sugar and add oil to a big conching machine, and here you just add the oil. The oil already contains the sugar, so there is no change in the equipment, no change in the manufacturing process. Maybe the production time is shortened a little bit because the sugar is pre-milled, and typically a lot of the energy of sugar of chocolate manufacturing goes to milling the sugar, but we mill the sugar up front. Dough processing, when you have these big mixers and kneaders, you can just, as you add oil, you add the oil with the sugar, in our case, together. and it can even be spray coated on the surface. We can make the product liquid enough to be sprayable. In case you have things like popcorn, where you have, or a health bars where you have a, well, you can't call them health bars, but bars where you have the sugar just coating the surface. O-Salt is even more interesting. You typically replace a two-step coating system with a one-step. Typically, you would have a system if you're making snack that is spraying oil and then it's sprinkling the salt. You can get rid of the sprinkling and just give the oil and the sugar in one go. You can do liquid spraying to replace a slurry, if you know the slurry spraying systems. Or if we take, for example, popcorn in bags, microwavable popcorn, you just drop a few drops of O-Salt inside, which contains the butter flavorant. And this is actually one of the first products that was developed and is really ready to go to market very soon. I can't disclose with who, but good chance that you will see it soon in supermarkets. Let me just show you. I hope this is going to work. Can you see
This
it?
clip will demonstrate how roasted salted nuts can be prepared using O-Salt. First, O-Salt is mixed to ensure homogeneity. O-Salt is then weighed out according to the batch size and the required sodium concentration of the product. Here we see pistachio nuts are being coated in the rotating drum tumbler. The coated nuts are then loaded into the hopper of the roasting oven. Just like we saw with the pistachio, peanuts can also be prepared using O-Salt. Nuts are now roasted in the oven. Roasted salted nuts are ready to be cooled and packaged.
So this is an application of O-Salt, and O-Spice is very similar to salt. Basically, it's very similar systems. Let's see an example of spraying O-Spice.
Enhance your snacks with O-Spice. Discover how O-Spice transforms pretzels, potato chips, extruded snacks, and more in a drum tumbler. Our all-in-one solution seamlessly applies salt, sugar, spices, flavorings, and oil with existing spray equipment, ensuring every bite is bursting with flavor. Plus, enjoy the benefits of sodium and sugar reduction while saving on ingredients, making your snacks healthier and more cost-effective.
So in this case, when you spray with a good atomizer, you get a very thin layer of maybe 5 microns of oil that contains the spices inside, and then the product comes out very dry. It doesn't come oily. Of course, you can add more oil if you want it, but you don't need it because the particles are so small that you need a tiny amount of oil in order to bond them to the surface, while when you use large powders, you need a large layer of fat to bond them. And actually, you don't even need fat. You can just use oil. The oil is absorbed in the dough of, let's say, these flat pretzels, these shtuchim, and then the product is dry, crunchy, and very tasty, salty or spicy. It can also be used if you want to do it for experiments or small batches, or in restaurants. You can do manual tumbling. I'll show you this also.
This clip will demonstrate how fried salted cashews can be prepared using O-Salt. Prior to use, the O-Salt is mixed using an immersion blender to ensure homogeneity. The cashews are fried in your preferred oil, following your usual method. After frying, the cashews are removed from the oil, allowed to drip for a moment, and excess oil is blotted off with a paper towel. Using a balance, the homogenized O-Salt is applied to the cashews in the desired amount. The warm cashews are mixed with the O-Salt to ensure an even coating. Here we used 2 bowls. However, a drum tumbler can also be used. Finally, the warm coated cashews are spread out to cool before consumption. The resulting cashew is salty while only containing 370 milligrams sodium per 100 gram of product.
So we've seen here actually several methods of applying salt sugar and spices in production. And really, we think that it is adaptable to almost any method that we saw in the industry, and this is practically ready to use. Now let's say that we are going to the phase where we need to install a production line, and also a production line in a factory. So it is a platform that allows multiple ingredients to be manufactured on the same hardware. The same machine, which looks approximately like what you see here. This is not the real picture, but it's very similar to this. It comes on a plug and play skid, rolls on wheels, ready to be operated, and you just have to connect it to some utilities. We can reach loadings of 30 to 60% depending on the application, what you need and what type of solid you're using. But salt, for example, can easily be milled at up to 60%. And it's a continuous process. As long as you feed it with oil and sugar, you'll get O-sweet. As long as you feed it with oil and salt, you'll get O-salt. And it's just a continuous run. It can work 24/7. We have two models of the line. And this is for anybody, or if when we're going to a new territory, we need to have a mini line, which gives you 20 to 30 kilograms per hour, which means that your minimum run is 5 kilograms. This is because you can't run 100 kilo per hour line to make small samples for R&D. So this is for application development and sampling. So when I say R&D, I actually mean application development, not real research, which is completed. So the process is very well known and controlled. And then the next step is the O-Taste industrial line. It's for high volume manufacturing. It can do up to 100 kilograms per hour, which means, just to give you an idea how much product you can sweeten with it. So with 100 kilogram per hour line that works around the clock, you can sweeten 10,000 kilograms of chocolate because you use it at about 20%. And 10,000 kilograms of chocolate, or 10 tons, that's like 22,000 pounds of chocolate, it's worth a lot of money. So actually this line provides for a very big amount of product. If we're talking about salt, in salt, you use O-salt at about 2%, so much less. So that means you can do something like 50 tons of finished product a day. So like something like a very big potato chip line or snack line. And seasonings, it's somewhere in between, because seasoning, you need something like 3 or 4% of the total mass to have the seasoning. So think about 20 tons of product. In any case, the value of the product that this can cater for is very high compared to the cost of the raw materials, which you are actually saving on them. The utilities we need are very simple, just 3-phase electricity, any voltage, Europe, USA, Israel, Japan. Clean, dry, compressed air, which you have in any factory, and chilled water. Of course, the system generates some heat, so you need chilled water, but not a huge consumption. Maintenance is extremely simple. If you want to turn around from salt to sugar, you just need to flush the system with warm water. Water gets rid of the salt and the oil very quickly, and within about 1 hour, you are ready. If you want to pass from, let's say, seasonings and more colorful materials to another material, then maybe you have to use a detergent, but that's very simple. And since the system, when it works, it is dry, and you dry it immediately after washing, you don't need any aggressive chlorine or bases or something like that. Maintenance, there are no consumable parts here, very low maintenance cost, low energy cost, so very simple to operate. A little bit about how we financed all this adventure. So we started, as I said, about 3.5 years ago. We actually started with private investors that we show here, like friends and family, a friend from my squadron in the Air Force, and my lawyer, and my sister and friends. That's how many startups start. And then we went to more strategic investors. We have MGT, which manufactures the machines for us here in Israel, in Ma'alot. They're a strategic investor. We have Chelten House that we spoke a lot about. They are maybe the most important strategic investor, the JNF, the Jewish National Fund. And we got a nice sum of money from the Israel Innovation Authority. So that's how we got here today. We are currently raising funds to scale up production of O-Taste ingredients in Israel and the USA. Most of our funds are coming now from the same investors because we have very good support. So The same investors right now are still in the game. And this production will allow us to do proof of concept in real production in our customers, B2B customers. And we think these will begin towards the fourth quarter this year. We will actually begin a production with customers in their own lines, in their own factories. This is our team. We are a relatively lean team, very experienced. So you know me already. This is Yair, our VP Operations, very experienced. Alisa is here with us. You met her. Meiki, you met. Professor Eyal Shimoni, very known figure in the food tech world. He was the legendary CTO of Strauss for, I think, 12 years. And he's a professor in engineering and food engineering and biotech. And he actually is also an advisor for us, and he helps our R&D team to do the real tough science part. And Stephen DeBro from Shelton House is on our board, as we said. So very experienced team, both in market and science and manufacturing. So to summarize, we offer solutions to some of the biggest challenges of the food industry: sugar and sodium reduction and cost saving. The solutions are straightforward implementation in manufacturing facilities. No hassle here, just plug and play. And we are now scaling up to industrial capacity to support our go-to-market strategy. So OTaste is tasty, healthy, clean label, natural, and affordable at the same time. And thank you for attending. And if you are interested in any type of collaboration with us, partnering, being customers, getting samples, doing R&D with us, whatever, then please take a snapshot of this screen, and you have here Meiki's email and his cell phone. He's in America because many of the participants here are in America, and Meiki is our business development officer in the world. So contact him. He'll be your point of contact, and if needed, he will connect you either with me or with our R&D team or with our marketing team. So with that, I thank you very much, and we are welcoming questions if there are any questions.
Yeah, Guy, hi, thank you. So there are a few ones. Seems like we have quite interest and curious audience with us today. I would start with the first one. What are its impact on the sensory aspects of the product?
Alisa, maybe you want to answer this?
Yeah, I can take this question. So I think that it's the beauty of our technology, because actually we are not settling or not compromising on the taste, because we are just taking sugar or salt and oil and doing some type of physical process to them, but we are not replacing them with any substitute or sugar substitute or salt substitute. So there is no real off flavors or any kind of the things. For example, you can see here, thank you, Guy, a tasting panel for a product that we have done for chocolate chips cookie. Actually, we had a project with a client that we developed with them a chocolate cookie, which is 40% less sugar. And you can see in the right side of the screen, the sensory spider, which is actually a result of our qualified sensory panel. You can see here that although the sugar is 40% less, with our technology, with OTaste, the texture, the sweetness, the overall acceptance of the product is actually the same as the reference. And that's, I think, the best answer to this question.
The best answer would be if they would get to taste it.
Okay.
You want to show the spread also?
Yeah, I can do it. So we also done the same application development on spreads. So we have here a spread which is 50% less sugar. We taste it compared to the common spread and our all-sweet cocoa hazelnut spread. So the common spread that we worked on had 46% of sugar, and the all-sweet spread had 24% of sugar. And as you can see, the very interesting thing here, that the sweetness, although with half of the amount of sugar, was the same for the tasting panel here. And the overall acceptance was even higher for our technology. And our product, I think it's more for the texture and hazelnut taste, which is improved when you had a lower sugar, and our technology inside that improves also the texture of the product, not only the taste. That's the reason that can explain the overall acceptability is higher.
Thank you, Alyssa. And a question that we got regarding the spread, Guy, you can going back to, yeah, thank you for the slide. Could you also, in theory, use the technology for multiple ingredients besides of the sugar and salt? For example, hazelnut powder or cocoa. We know how cocoa is sensitive price-wise these days. Did you got any chance to play with that?
Okay, so I have to say that everything, as we said, which is combined from edible solids and oil and fat, can go through our process. For example, our syrups, the toppings that we saw before, are actually a combination of those ingredients that go through our process. The cocoa powder, the hazelnut paste, they all go through together our process. Also, we had a chance to play with and test cocoa powder and also cocoa mass. And we saw that going through our process not only make their smoother and improve texture, but also improve taste, which is very, very interesting aspect of our technology that we didn't discuss on this webinar. But if anyone wants to hear more, is more than welcome to ask.
Alyssa, Omer, you have more questions about this? Do you want to show also a salty solution?
Yes, of course.
Okay. This is the potato chips.
Yeah, so we also had a project with potato chips, also classic and wavy. Here we have an example of the classic potato chips. We took potato chips with 600 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams of product, which is usual potato chips on the market. And we use them for 60%. We took 250 milligrams only of sodium was in the product. So the potato chips, after applying O-salt, and it was amazing, we reduced 60% of the sodium, and yet our O-salt coated potato chips were a bit saltier, although they were reduced. So potato chips and other snacks like potato chips are very, very good candidate for O-salt and very easy to apply with any spraying system. Actually, we did it with the spraying system in our lab pilot line. And we have another application, right? So
we have the popcorn here, I see.
Yes, so also we applied, as Guy mentioned, on popcorn. And on popcorn, actually, it's very, very easy because popcorn, we use usually salt and oil to pop the popcorn. So we were able to achieve a very significant sodium reduction in popcorn. Actually, the reference that we worked with the project was 5,000 milligrams of sodium. It's very salty popcorn, but popcorn needs a lot of salt to be well adhered. Actually, we have to put the industry puts a lot of salt in popcorn because the adhesion is very, very poor usually. So we took 80% of the sodium out, and yet, as you can see, the saltiness was higher than
too high, too salty.
Too salty. So also the effect here was amazing, and the adhesion was very, very good. And also, we didn't discuss it, but also the uniformity of the coating. The coating was even. You had a bite of saltiness in each popcorn you taste, and I think it also is very, very important for the experience of the client.
Thank you. We have another two questions. Also, does this sugar replacement cause delayed cravings for sugar and salt? Have you done any tests for those who are addicted to certain foods?
No, we haven't done, but I'll tell you. Okay, I can tell you the verbal responses of people who are consuming these products, the actual products. So when people consume them, if you eat 1 tablespoon of one of these spreads, after 10 minutes, you feel so full you don't want to eat anymore. So I never ate Nutella because, or a shachar in Israel, because I'm not a fan of these products, and I haven't, until OSweet, I haven't eaten chocolate for something like 20 years. But people tell me that when they take 1 teaspoon of Nutella, they have to eat more. In this case, even though it's very, very sweet, because it doesn't spike your blood sugar. The thing is that it doesn't spike your blood sugar. And if it doesn't spike your blood sugar and you don't have an insulin rise, you don't have a sugar drop, and then you don't crave more sugar. Because actually the craving for more sugar is not because it's sweet, it's because of you have a sugar spike and a sugar drop. And this doesn't happen with our products. Just your blood sugar is level. So you feel satiated very quickly. I hope this answers the question of the person who asked it. So we didn't make a study on it, but these are the verbal reports we got from many, many people. So you don't, even if you're a binger, you don't binge on, you can't finish a jar like this at once, and not even half of it. You just get so full so quickly, you'll stop. So it's a self-adjusting thing.
Thank
the opposite.
you.
Yeah.
And a last question. What can you tell or expose regarding the patents?
Okay, so we have a patent on first, you can see the patents online because they are granted. They are already granted in Israel, in the USA, in Japan, and Singapore. And they are pending in Europe, China, India, and I think South Korea. I think the patents are strong. We have a good patent team, patent attorneys, and it's part of our strategy. And basically, the patent doesn't say anything about the technology that we use. It talks about the composition. So if you read the patent, you'll see that any edible oil or fat which contains solids from 15 micron to 0.1 micron are covered by the patent. And it doesn't matter how you reach that, with what type of milling technology, because obviously there are many, many milling technologies. So that's one of the important independent claims in our patent. There's another very important independent claim that talks about a multi-step process. There is no one milling technology in the world, and we haven't found, and Alyssa and I were working on this for quite a few years, we haven't found any one technology that can take you down from 500 microns to 5 microns in one step. So this is also part of the patent. That's what I can say. Now, because it's a granted patent, there's nothing secret. Anybody can read it. Just download the patent on the name of Alyssa Dunkel or Guy Bensby, and you'll find it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Guy.
Okay. So no more questions?
No.
Okay, so I thank everybody, anyone who joined, took the time today, and you will probably get by email. As far as I know, you'll get the recording by email, and even people who have just registered and didn't join us today will see it. So thank you very much, and I hope you took notice of our email in the slide that I showed, and you contact us if you want to know more. So thank you, everybody, and good night, good morning, good evening.